Ahoy and welcome, this is Admiral. Today's video is a bit unusual, with a focus on history and linguistics, as we'll be talking about how the historical Aztecs, as well as some of their descendants and related peoples who still speak their language today, would pronounce some of the words that have made it into the game. I wanted to make this short video for two reasons, the first being that I have a couple upcoming videos that emphasize some Aztec words and names, and I want to provide a reference for their correct pronunciation. The other reason being that I've never actually heard anyone else, at least in the AoE 2 community, pronounce these names as the Aztecs would have. And I'll take a page from Spirit of the Law's book in considering these alternative pronunciations not so much wrong as, well, highly creative. And to be fair, we can justify some of this creativity on the basis that English pronunciations can be just about whatever we want them to be. Although I notice that in many cases, we do consider it a sign of culture and education to pronounce a number of foreign words or loanwords according to at least approximated rules of their original language. Although obviously going too far can be perceived as pretentious.
You're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
So stick with me, and by the end, many of you might even find it preferable to pronounce these words as the Aztecs did, which after establishing a couple simple rules may be easier than you'd expect. But first, let's look at some of the ways our friends in the AoE 2 community have been referring to this guy right here.
Say hello to the Zolotl warrior.
What's up with the axolotls, by the way? Why are they acting so weird?
In multiplayer, the Soxotl warriors are actually pretty bad.
The name Xolotl refers to the Aztec dog-headed god of...
So if you've been saying it similarly to any of these guys, you're at least in good company. And even they're not alone, as the linguist, consulted by original game developers of Age of Conquerors, was extremely creative when it came to the language spoken by the Aztecs in-game. And I don't even mean with pronunciation. The language itself bears no resemblance to what it's supposed to represent. The way that the Aztecs, or the Mexica, as one of the names they called themselves, would have pronounced this word in Nahuatl is Xolotl, the Xolotl warrior, with the emphasis on the first syllable, and the X pronounced as SH, as in Mexica, Tlaxcala, or Texcoco. The final two consonants are a little trickier, but think of the L as extremely abbreviated. A pause and exhale immediately after putting the tongue in position to pronounce the L, and with absolutely no hint of the U or O sound that people like to interject, as if these two letters were equivalent to the English word toll. Rather, it's k. I would even go so far as to say that not pronouncing the L at all is more correct than the common exaggerated ol sound that adds the awkward extra syllable to these words. This is called an alveolar lateral fricative, and Wikipedia actually has an accurate and helpful page about this if you're interested. Other in-game uses of this pronunciation we've learned are Atlatl for this technology, and Quetzalcoatl for this campaign level. And these AI player names are Ahuitzotl and Xicotencatl. This AI name and scenario editor hero is Itzcoatl, and this scenario editor object is a Temalacatl. And you'll be pleased to learn that this covers most of the ground as far as peculiar rules for Nahuatl pronunciation. Apart from that, it can be reasonably approximated as following most of the same rules as written Spanish, which is extremely intuitive and consistent compared to English. Now, I understand if one chooses to see this as just a bit of trivia and wishes to carry on the Anglophone tradition of pronouncing foreign words without respect to particularly coherent rules of pronunciation or spelling, but I prefer to see it as paying homage to the culture and language that these words come from, as we do with some expressions today, particularly from French. And I would contrast these with loanwords that have taken on a life far beyond their historical origin. The word chocolate, for example, has a Nahuatl origin, but its spelling and pronunciation has been modified, and today it's mostly used outside of the context of the historical Aztecs and their language. So it would be pretty silly for me to try to elevate the original Nahuatl term to universal usage. On the other hand, names like Xolotl, Quetzalcoatl, Ahuitzotl, and so forth are almost entirely used within the context of the historical Mexica, or related people, their beliefs, culture, and language, or inspired homages thereto, such as we find in the game with the Xolotl warrior and Atlatl technology. So it makes a lot of sense to me to pronounce them within that context where possible. And it's not as if English has its own rich history of words ending in this phoneme with sensible pronunciations competing with what we've talked about here. Also, these words just sound a lot more natural when pronounced historically. At least to me, Xolotl sounds cooler than Zolotl, Atlatl than Atl, and Quetzalcoatl than Quetzalcoatl. Anyway, I'm mostly not here to be the word police or tell you that mispronunciation will be visited with Montezuma's revenge.
I fear the wrath of the gods. The corn will bleed.
But now you know how the native Mexica, or Nahuas, past and present, pronounce these words from their language, and I think you might agree they sound better that way. But do with that what you will. That's all for today. Till next time.